When we say the feminine recognizing the divine masculine, we're not talking about applause or validation. We're pointing to a felt, embodied yes that arises in the feminine principle, inside you and in others, when masculine energy is coherent, ethical, and rightly aimed. In a semen retention journey, that recognition is less about image and more about your relationship to time, truth, and tension. Recognition isn't romantic flattery, it's nervous system consent. The feminine recognizes when your presence lowers ambient threat, simplifies noise, and clarifies direction. It senses whether your strength is generous rather than dominating, whether your quiet is attentive rather than avoidant, and whether your heat is devotional rather than addicted. This is subtle telemetry, not a popularity contest. Semen retention changes the signal you broadcast. It can shift your time preference from immediate discharge to sustained creation, from novelty chasing to resource stewardship. But retention alone doesn't make you divine. It gives you more charge to aim. The feminine recognizes not the battery in your chest, but the way you carry voltage without scorching the room. There are two theaters of recognition, inner and outer. The inner feminine, your capacity to feel, to receive, to imagine, watches how your discipline treats your softness. The outer feminine, partners, friends, community, life as muse, watches how your discipline treats the world. If your practice crushes either, recognition withdraws. If it nourishes both, recognition ripens. The thesis we'll work with is simple and demanding. The feminine recognizes the divine masculine across three dimensions. Safety, can you hold intensity without harm? Coherence, do your words, history, and habits agree? And purpose, is your strength in service to something more than yourself? Retention can help with all three if you weld it to ethics and devotion. The feminine's metrics: safety, coherence, purpose. Safety is the first gate. And it's not about being harmless, it's about being trustworthy with your own power. The feminine scans breath, eyes, timing, and touch for evidence of non-predatory presence. It wants to feel your capacity to hold charge without going numb or going feral. Your ability to say no to yourself before anyone else has to say it to you. Coherence is the second gate. The feminine tracks micro-incongruence better than a polygraph. It notices if your stated values match your calendar, if your apologies land with behavioral change, if your tenderness survives your bad day. It doesn't need speeches, it needs receipts, pattern-level evidence that your center is not for sale when pressure hits. Purpose is the third gate. The feminine recognizes a man who is already in a relationship with something larger than approval, a craft, a vow, a call. It senses when it's being asked to orbit a void versus being invited to dance with a vector. Purpose doesn't mean grind. It means your yes and no serve a story the soul can respect. These gates are tested by life through beneficial friction. Not as manipulative games, but as honest weather, delays, disappointments, misunderstandings. The feminine watches how your system metabolizes heat. Do you become controlling? Do you collapse? Or can you stay relational while staying rooted? Under novelty, stress, and intimacy, your blueprint reveals itself. Distinguish containment from control. Containment is a promise about yourself. I will hold my energy, my boundaries, my breath. Control is a plan about another. You will feel, do, or be this. The feminine recognizes containment as safety and intimacy. It reads control as fear in armor. Semen retention is valuable when it grows containment, not control.
What retention broadcasts and what it doesn't. Retention is a training in charge capacity. You're practicing how to hold, circulate, and aim erotic energy without outsourcing regulation to immediate release. Physiologically, the benefits vary. Psychologically, the shift is consistent. You change the reward schedule, privileging longer arcs over quick relief. That alone alters what your presence communicates in a room. The feminine reads that communication quickly. Less compulsive scanning for stimuli, slower eye movements, longer exhales, steadier punctuality. These are bodily footnotes that say, I am not ruled by appetite. But beware cosplaying restraint. If you use retention to avoid vulnerability, your stillness will feel like a freeze response, not mastery. The vibe won't pass the gate. Shadow shows up when retention becomes repression. Dryness, moral superiority, contempt for others' choices, secret binge cycles. These are signs you're tightening a valve rather than cultivating a channel. The feminine is allergic to brittle virtue. It can smell when discipline is a moat around an unhealed ache. Unintegrated austerity doesn't magnetize, it repels. Real transmutation is somatic and relational. The pelvis breathes, the heart stays online, the voice softens without losing firmness. You can hold a boundary without punishing, name a desire without demanding, feel a wave without surfing the nearest distraction. That combination, warmth plus structure, is the signature the feminine trusts as divine masculine. So run diagnostics beyond day counts. After 30 or 90 days, are you more playful, more precise, more generous, more able to keep inconvenient promises? Do your creative outputs deepen? Do difficult conversations get cleaner? The feminine isn't grading abstinence, it's reading downstream effects. Retention that doesn't become artistry and service is just storage. Your inner feminine as auditor and ally. Jung called it anima. Poets call it muse. Mystics call it the soul's eye. Your inner feminine doesn't bow to performance metrics. She wants relatedness. She wants to know whether your masculine discipline can sit with grief, awe, boredom, and wonder without editing them to fit an identity. She is the first and fiercest recognizer of integrity. Dreams are her memos. When retention is aligned, dreams get more textured, more color, more plot, more guiding conversations. When you've drifted, dreams flatten into chase scenes or numbing loops. Don't fetishize symbols. Feel the tone. Does the dream leave you with knitted courage or with a sprinting mind? That tonal residue is recognition or its absence. Try a daily dialogue. 2 columns. Left is the masculine voice, clear, concise, specific. Right is the feminine voice, curious, candid, body-based. Ask, where did I force today? Where did I abandon? Then negotiate one action that restores trust. Sometimes that's rest. Sometimes that's finishing the unsexy task. Sometimes it's admitting a fear you've been dressing as ambition. Practice apology to your inner feminine. When you blow past limits, numb feelings, or posture in spiritual costume, say it out loud. I did that. I see the cost. Then repair behaviorally. Adjust sleep, reduce stimulus, tell the truth to someone, or cancel the performance you're using to avoid intimacy. Recognition grows where repair is routine, not where perfection is pretended. When inner and outer feminine feedback clash, privilege the most honest signal, not the most flattering. If your partner praises your restraint, but your dreams scream desert, hydrate the psyche. If dreams are grand, but your community reflects chaos, tighten reality's feedback loop. The divine masculine can hear multiple choirs and still keep time.
The external feminine: partners, community, and life. Partners don't need your perfection. They need your predictability. If you're practicing retention in relationship, make it collaborative. Share cycles, name motives, set review dates, and co-design affectionate alternatives that feel nourishing rather than punitive. Recognition deepens when the feminine experiences your discipline as a widening of intimacy, not a rationing of warmth. Consent is a living conversation, not a checkbox.
Learn to track arousal and boundaries together without making either sacred or shameful. Somatic pacing, slower exhale, pausing to feel, checking eyes for presence, builds a field where erotic energy can be explored without compulsive endpoints. The feminine recognizes your capacity to stop without shutting down. Beyond romance, the feminine shows up as mentors, elders, friends, art, and nature. Birds, oceans, good architecture, a well-made meal. These are feminine mirrors, teaching proportion, receptivity, and cadence. If your masculine discipline isolates you from these teachers, you're training in a vacuum. Recognition increases when you're in conversation with the world's textures. Art is a ruthless mirror. Write, paint, dance, or build something weekly, not for likes, for accuracy. Creative work will expose whether your restraint turns into clarity or into clenched minimalism. The feminine in art recognizes whether your lines breathe. Retention that feeds beauty is deeply trusted. Retention that only subtracts is aesthetically and spiritually suspect. Invite inspection, not adoration. Ask a trusted feminine presence, where does my strength feel safe? Where does it feel stiff? Where does it feel absent? Receive the answer without litigating tone. The divine masculine makes feedback metabolizable. Recognition grows in environments where truth can land without walking on glass. Time, truth, and the ethics of direction. Divine masculine is a relationship to time. Not speed, not slowness, rightness. Keep time for your soul. Bedtimes that respect tomorrow. Start times that respect others. Breaks that respect your animal body. The feminine recognizes a man who is punctual to his purpose and unhurried with his care. That rhythm creates a harbor where trust moors. Make fewer promises and keep them fiercely. The feminine reads your calendar as scripture. If your mouth writes checks your days can't cash, your spiritual currency inflates. Let commitments be weight-bearing beams, not decorative trim. A single kept boundary is louder than 20 aspirational posts. A single repaired breach is louder than a month of posturing. Conflict is a truth lab. Can you hold difference without collapsing into appeasement or exploding into domination? The feminine recognizes men who can metabolize heat, naming their position cleanly, hearing the other fully, negotiating outcomes that honor values over victory. Power with is the masculine's mature form. Power over is its unripe shadow. Stewardship includes money, space, and matter. Pay what you owe, tidy the corner you inhabit, fix the hinge that squeaks. The feminine notices how you relate to the physical world because it betrays your invisible ethic. Scarcity theater and reckless flex both leak safety. Simplicity with generosity is the recognizable signature. Recognition is longitudinal. The feminine watches you across seasons: injury, boredom, success, rejection. Can you carry the light through winter without making others shiver? Can you carry praise without inflating? Can you start again, gently, after a fall? Semen retention is one season. The divine masculine tends all weathers.
Protocols to earn and embody recognition. Anchor your practice in 5 reliabilities. Breath, a longer exhale under stress. Boundaries, explicit, kind no's that arrive early. Calendar, visible commitments with buffers for humanity. Craft, one skill you deepen weekly, regardless of mood. Care, a steady offering, service, mentoring, or generosity that keeps your energy circulating. Recognition accumulates where these are boringly consistent. Pass your words through 3 gates before speaking. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it useful? If it fails any gate, pause. The feminine recognizes restraint that protects the field, not silence that punishes. In conflict, aim for sentences that reduce fog while keeping dignity intact. Precision is tenderness dressed as language. Clean your signal. Reduce inputs that hijack the limbic system. Doom scroll, outrage loops, pornified imagery, and excess caffeine. Replace with slow strength, sunlight, resistance training, walking without earbuds, long-form reading. Retention works best when the noise floor drops. Guidance and recognition both require auditory range in the psyche. Adopt 2 simple rites: a daily stillness walk, 15 minutes, phone off, attention on breath and horizon, teaches you how to carry charge without discharge. A 72-hour reliability challenge. Make 3 small promises and keep them exactly. Teaches your system the taste of trust. These rites are humble. The feminine recognizes their echo in your presence. Let's close with a vow you can speak tonight. May my strength be warm, my boundaries be kind, my word be clean. I retain not to hoard, but to serve. I aim not to control, but to contain. I seek not to impress, but to be inspected. May the feminine within and without recognize in me a man who keeps time with truth. Live that, and recognition will take care of itself.